Hello everyone. I just want to thank you for a wonderful year this year, and I hope to repeat the performance again and a little bit better next year with some new material, some new stuff in my show. I look forward to sharing that with you. As you know, I've got some new projects on hand, and we'll be bringing that out next year. I want to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, good health, and prosperity, and everything that you can ever wish for. Okay? Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
BBC Radio Leicester. Hello, I'm Tony Wadsworth. Welcome to Christmas with Engelbert.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow's glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in the winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is a new bird. He sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we could build a snowman, and then pretend that he's Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, man, but you can do the job when you're in town. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire, to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. We'll probably get played the Eskimo way, walking in a winter wonderland, walking in a winter wonderland, walking in a winter wonderland.
2012 has been quite a year for Engelbert. He was presented with a rose named in his honour, propagated and cultivated here in Leicestershire. He performed before His Holiness the Dalai Lama in New York, and he represented the UK in the Eurovision Song Contest held in Azerbaijan. In the next hour we'll be looking back at what has been an incredible year for him, but he'll also be reflecting on Christmases past and present, as well as looking ahead to the release of his new album due out early in the new year. First though, a few facts and figures. With more than 150 million records sold worldwide, his own star in the Hollywood and Las Vegas Walks of Fame, and more than 250 branches or chapters of fan clubs worldwide, at the age of 76 you could forgive him for wanting to slow down and take things a bit easier. But nothing could be further from the truth, especially when Eurovision came knocking on his door.
It's going to be an exciting time in my life, and to have been chosen to represent our country in this song contest it's just unbelievable to me. Unbelievable.
How did this come your way? How did you learn about it in the first place?
Well, actually Scott, my son, who is managing me, it came to him, and before it came, and then he brought it to me, and there's no way I was going to say no about a thing like this.
Did you not even hesitate for a moment?
I didn't hesitate. No. This is the most exciting thing that's happened to me in a long time. You know, can you believe it? I mean, I am responsible for our country. It is a little bit nerve-wracking, to say the least. You know, but I'm hoping that things are going to turn out just fine for us. It's an amazing song. I mean, these two guys that wrote, Martin Terep and Sasha Skarbek, he's an Ivor Novello Award-winning writer, and of course Martin is one of the greatest musicians and producers I've ever come across, and he's just completed my last album. You know, he's still working on it, mind you. I completed my side of it, and now it's a collaboration album, you know, but I can't mention who's on it because that comes out after the contest, right. Which is always the way record companies like it to be, and Conehead has been very excited about it, and I hope it gets as much publicity as I've been getting recently with the Eurovision Song Contest.
Your son Scott now is your manager. Probably the best manager you've ever had.
He's the man. He's the man, yeah. I've had, you know, I have to say that Gordon Mills started my career, and I had a lot of in-betweens. But I think the first and the last is the way it should be and the way it's going to go for the rest of my life. And Scott's here.
So, I mean, what's it like managing your dad? Because I worked with my dad in the early years, and it wasn't always the easiest of relationships, I have to say, as much as we loved each other.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I love managing my father. I take a huge amount of pride in it, and I wear several hats around my father. I wear the manager's hat, and I wear the son's hat, and I wear them all, or each of them, with love and with respect. But when I wear the manager's hat, that's what I wear, and I focus on my father as an artist rather than my father.
So what is your role going to be out in Baku?
I think we've got a full media schedule while we're out there, and just making sure that everything runs smoothly, and we stay on top of the game.
How's the family responding to all of this? Because you have quite a large family,
yeah,
one way or another.
Everyone's so proud of Dad, and you know, with the majority of the family here in England, they're just over the moon with the media coverage and seeing Dad back on television and on the radio again. Everyone's very proud and excited for him.
Described by one observer as a mad collision of cultures, Eurovision comprises of 40 countries competing in the annual search for a song for Europe, and Azerbaijan was the unlikely venue for the contest. So by late May he flew the 2,500 miles to Baku in Azerbaijan to perform before a television audience estimated at a cool 125 million. I was fortunate to be there with him.
The Eurovision Song Contest, and your county right at the heart of it. This is BBC Radio Leicester.
An oasis of calm among the madness, with you and I sitting down on the 24th story of the Hilton Hotel.
Yes.
You've come an awful long way from Leicester, and I'm not just talking about the 2,500 miles from there to here in Baku. When you look back over the years when you were struggling as an artist in Leicester in those very early days, how does it make you feel now in the light of all of this?
You know, my journey has been a wonderful journey. I mean, and coming here is an exception to the rule, because I'm representing my country here in a song contest, something that I do, and I hope I do well. And I just feel amazing, because I've traveled all over the world, you know, and this is one place I had never been before. It's a beautiful country, and the people have accepted us in quite a nice way, and everywhere we go we're treated with courtesy, and it's rather nice.
Yes, and the Crystal Hall, your first impressions of that when you first stepped foot in there?
They've done an amazing job on that, and in such a short space of time. And when I looked in there, I mean, I don't know how many, I think 25,000 people will be in the audience, you know, and They haven't quite finished it yet. If you look at the back there, there's still unfinished seats there, but they've covered it up very well, and it looks good. It looks good. It's an amazing place. And each person that goes on, and during the introduction of each person, they show the outside of the Crystal Palace. I think it's called Crystal Palace, right?
Crystal Hall.
Crystal Hall. Crystal Hall. Each time a country goes out, their flag and their colors come up on the outside of the building. It's amazing. Yeah.
But again, you know, when you go back to the days, the very early days in Leicester, this must be beyond your wildest dreams.
Oh, it is. It is beyond my wildest
Do you ever
dreams.
wake up in the morning and think it's going to end like that?
In the early days, I used to think like that. I used to think it's going to end. But, you know, I've had so many years of it and so many wonderful memories. And I still travel around the world and do shows and fill up the venues. And people still want to see me, this young lad from Leicester. And I'm thrilled to be in this industry. And I'm glad I chose a vocation that really suits my way of life.
Talk to me about the preparation, the training that you put in for Eurovision. 'Cause I know you lost a few pounds.
Oh yeah, I lost 16 pounds. I went on this Ducat diet, or Ducan diet, or it's a French diet, and it's a very nice diet actually. So I found it very easy. The only thing I missed, of course, is a glass of bitter, because if you drink bitter, you put the weight on. So I've neglected doing that in the past few weeks. But I do still have a couple of glasses of wine, which is okay by me.
And what about the voice? How do you keep that in?
The voice, you just pray that nothing happens and you stay away from the germy areas, you know, and I take precautions, you know, I take vitamins and things like that to try and keep everything away from the vocal cords. It's tough.
I know when we were chatting at your home in Great Glen just a few weeks ago now, you confessed to being nervous at the prospect of going on and performing before the best part of 20,000 people in the Crystal Hall and a worldwide audience of at least 125 million.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Isn't that enough to give you a little bit of nerves, but to think that all these people are watching you? Yes, I do get nervous, and I think with the team that we've got around us, the publicity team, Arlene Phillips, who's directing my stage performance and tweaking the camera shots and the lighting and everything like that. I think we have a great team around us, and it's a very professional team. And if this doesn't get us through, nothing will. It's really a good team.
I could not turn away when faced with your beauty. No reason can stay as you kiss him in the moonlight. With heavy words I say, if you love someone, follow your heart, 'cause love comes once if you're lucky enough. Though I'll miss you forever, the hurt will run deep. Only love can set you free. Trust in your dream, run with no fear, and if you should stumble, remember I'm here. As a ghost I will walk deep in my soul. I might find another. You gave me that hope. So as you kiss him in the moonlight, with heavy words I say, if you love someone, follow your heart, because love comes once if you're lucky enough. Though I'll miss you forever and the hood will run deep, only love
The UK entry for Eurovision 2012, Love Will Set You Free.
The ensuing few days were to prove something of a merry-go-round of media interviews, as journalists from around the world descended on the Azeri capital of Baku. Among them, Paddy O'Connell.
Well, I think they've sent a man, haven't they, to do a man's job. I mean, it's quite intense. You get fired questions about the politics of Azerbaijan, you get fired questions about the politics of Europe, and you think you're a singer, but suddenly you've had to become a kind of ambassador for the United Kingdom. Then they ask you questions about who else you like, what was your Eurovision memories. Engelbert's been singing for longer than most of these people were born. There's probably one or two Russian grannies who can outlast him. So, of course, you know, he was making hits in the 60s, #1 hit in the 60s. There aren't many of the entries who were born in the 60s. They're born in the 80s and the 90s. So, I mean, I think he's a class act. He's going to do very well. I think it's going to be hard for him to win, but maybe this interview will go out afterwards, so it won't matter.
Is it going to be harder for him to lose?
No, I think he can pass it off. No, I mean, if what you're saying is this interview goes out and he's come last, what does it matter? No, not to him. I mean, he did a contest in Belgium in the 60s. It was sort of mini Eurovision. He's filled arenas in about 5 or 6 of the countries that are here. He's already shown his appeal in Europe. He just would be given kudos, I think, for taking it on, because who would take it on? You think of the sort of what gets thrown at you if you represent the UK in the UK. People say awful things every year. That's what interests me about it. Why do we moan about so many things that are basically quite so innocent? And to your listener who says it's rubbish, I say, yes, it is. It's fine, it's rubbish. But do we get so het up about Gardener's Question Time, or Look at My Attic, or Antiques Roadshow, or the county show in Leicestershire? I mean, some things are liked by some people and not by others. Well, get over yourself. You know, that's the case, isn't it? That's what life is. It's just a music contest. People don't go around saying Pudsey shouldn't have won Britain's Got Talent for more than about 5 minutes, but they spend a lifetime saying, I hate the Eurovision. Why is that? I think that's worth asking. I don't know. So I got sucked into it all accidentally. I think Engelbert's brave because he's got things to lose. And at the end of the day, I think, in Leicester, people probably admire someone who's got something to lose and just gives it up anyway, you know. Everyone's on the take, aren't they? What's the real upside for Engelbert Humperdinck? Could it be that he's out to just sing his heart out? Could it be that? Is he going to be made rich by Eurovision? No. Is it going to put him in the movies? No. Could he just be doing it as a sort of great surprise late in his career? Yes, maybe he could.
Azerbaijan isn't what could be described as a popular tourist destination, and consequently flights aren't cheap. But that didn't prevent hundreds of Eurovision diehard fans flying out to experience the spectacle firsthand and fly the flag for the UK and Engelbert.
We've got a group of Eurovision fans here. And you're from? Norfolk. Southampton. London.
Newark, Nottinghamshire.
And Nottingham as well. Southampton. Germany, Munich. Yeah. And you're supporting the UK?
Kind of, yes. I have a lot of UK friends.
Ah. You're just saying that because you're outnumbered, aren't you, really?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I'm standing up by myself. I'm German, you know that?
Well, Engelbert, of course, is very big in Germany, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He actually is really very big in Germany. He's very famous, yeah.
So how do you think he's going to do?
I hope up very high. High hopes, high hopes. I think he's saving himself until tomorrow night. So, saving his larynx.
Are you a big Engelbert fan, madam?
Well, I'm near his age, so I'm happy. My era.
And what about you, young man?
Yeah, we think that he's going to do well. Well, we hope he's going to do well. We want him to do well. Everybody in the UK is behind him. I think being the oldest man ever to enter Eurovision is a bit on his side, the sympathy vote, but we'll get there. We'll do well.
Excellent. Well, I hope you're right. So what about you? How did you get involved?
Just through friends, and we always come every year, so it's a bit of a pilgrimage now, and we're supporting the Hump, and 12 points for the Hump in the UK, really.
As you might say, yes. And now look at you there, bedecked in your Union flag, sir.
Yeah. The only way is up, based on our past performances. And I think we've got big hopes, really. We're on first, which isn't great, but, you know, fingers crossed. It's a good song, a good artist. He is famous across Europe already, and that has got to do us favours. So fingers crossed we'll get a few 12 points, and all we can ask for is that we're not in the bottom half of the board at the end of the night.
In between the press conferences and photo shoots, there were the dress rehearsals and an opportunity to run through things technically, ensuring every camera angle was just right. And although Engelbert himself didn't have a dance routine, if choreographer Arlene Phillips had had her way, he most certainly would have.
I'll let you into a little secret. Engelbert can tap, but he's not tapping on Eurovision, because I didn't discover that until after I arrived here and all of our entry had been set.
So you would have had him tap dancing had you known?
Ah, you bet.
Really?
Yeah, I would. I would have had him do a little waltz tap, but actually everything on Eurovision has to be set way before you arrive. That's the rules. There are very strict rules. So I'm here with two beautiful dancers, because the song that he's singing is a waltz. It's a fast waltz, almost Viennese in tempo. So we're sort of doing a very contemporary waltz with the two dancers. But also I'm staging Engelbert, not only, you know, his performance and focusing it on, you know, lyrics and truth and where the cameras are, but for Eurovision you have to do everything. You decide what lighting you want, what projection you want. You have to create everything before you get here. And it's been wonderful working with him, absolutely wonderful, and working quite intensely, because he's used to playing audiences of millions. And of course what he does in his audiences, playing to his audiences of millions, is walk around the stage and, you know, looking out to people, you know, and looking up, and he does arenas and thousands of people. And I have to say to him, you know, in television you have to think of playing to one person, and that one person is multiplied by millions, but you mustn't think about them, because you've got to reach into the homes of everyone. And so we've just been sort of focusing the performance and building up such a wonderful relationship. And when, you know, nothing excites me more than when Engelbert just stands there, reaches out and hits those glorious notes that he hits. It's just incredible. Really gets you.
Because it is a song contest at the end of the day. He's very keen to emphasise that, I know. How do you think he's going to do?
Look, I'm hoping that he's going to bring home the trophy. We have drawn first, which all of the Eurovision fanatics tell me is not a good place to draw. You know, looking back in history, they know their history. They're encyclopedic on Eurovision, and they say it's not a good place to draw. But with his performance, his voice, and also, you know, his shining star. He is a star. Europe love him, and I hope the whole of Europe falls in love with him in the way that I have. And he brings back the trophy to the UK.
Bit of traditional music for you here for starters, with a very colourful backdrop featuring various countries, but of course in particular Azerbaijan and the city of Baku, where the song contest is being based tonight. Best part of 4 hours, if not closer to 4.5 hours. For us it's going to be midnight. So it's going to be a very long night for the journalists and presenters here, both for television and radio here in Baku. Applause for Engelbert as he takes to the stage for his dress rehearsal. Listen. And this is Enge performing live in the dress rehearsal in the Crystal Hall. One of his last rehearsals before going live tonight.
train somewhere on the outskirts of Tuscany, just as the sun's going down. Glass of wine in your hand, staring at the scenery, just glad to be nowhere bound. It's just another place you like to close your eyes and go, sitting in the kitchen over coffee getting cold. Maybe someday you'll get tired of dreaming. Take that one way, take it out of town. You feel like you're going through the motions before life passes you by. Better make that someday tonight. Where's the young, crazy girl with the fire down in her soul? The one that's not afraid to live. Don't talk yourself right out of it the way you always do. You say you can't just up and go. Well, girl, that's no excuse. Maybe someday you'll get tired of dreaming. Take that one way, take it out of town. You feel like you're going through the motions before life passes you by. Better make that someday tonight. Better make that someday tonight. Maybe someday you'll get tired of dreaming. Take that one way, take it out of town. You feel like you're going through the motions before life passes you by. Better make that someday tonight. Better make that someday tonight. Oh, with a young and crazy girl, with a fire down in her soul. Someday, someday tonight.
And tonight now was the night. Press conferences completed and the final dress rehearsal done and dusted, it was time for Eng to return to his hotel for some much-needed rest before the eyes of the world were to be cast upon him as the opening act of Eurovision 2012. Later in the evening, I hitched a ride with him aboard his coach as we left for the Crystal Hall a few miles outside Baku.
Hi, Eng.
Here you are.
How are you?
You're wearing your Union Jack tie.
What do you think of that then, eh?
Pretty good.
Just one question and then I'll get off your back, so I'm not going to crowd you out. How are you feeling right now, Inge?
Nervous, but tension, but ready. Nervous, tension, but ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
Excellent. Well, I'll see you the other side of it. I wish you the very best of British luck.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks.
Great. Unfortunately, despite being tipped to do well, it was not to be. In the event, Sweden won, and the UK's entry came second from last, ahead only of Norway. Security kept the media at arm's length after the results had been announced, and it wasn't until the next morning that I was able to get Enge's reaction to the outcome.
I feel good. I feel good. You know, obviously a little bit disappointed, but we had a great team behind us. We had a great song. I sang my heart out for the country, and the rest is out of my hands, you know. But I'm proud, I'm very, very proud to be a Brit, because us Brits never give up.
That's great to hear you sounding so positive the morning after the night before. I was there watching you perform, and you certainly did nothing to be ashamed of. Everybody I've spoken to this morning since has been shouting your virtues from the rooftop. You've certainly got nothing to be ashamed of, but it is such a sad thing that the UK does so dreadfully in the Eurovision Song Contest. And I don't know how we break the mould. If you can't do it, Eng, who can?
I know. But I'm going to tell you something, Tony. You know, the camaraderie of our country so far, and the way they backed me up, and the confidence they had in me was so wonderful. I mean, there were parties in every home, parties in every pub and clubs. It was just an amazing situation. It brought everyone together, and we know now that, you know, we're still the greatest nation around.
And with that, he was off on the latest leg of his almost non-stop globe-trotting tour, taking in places such as South America and South Africa. So it wasn't until some weeks later, when he eventually returned to his home here in Leicestershire, that we were able to sit down together and properly reflect on the Eurovision experience.
I think the whole thing, to me, was obviously political. We know that, because the five countries that provided the money and were not in the what they call that once before, like passing out
preliminaries.
Yeah, the preliminaries. Yeah. The five countries that provided the money shot to the bottom of the list, because I think you know, countries like Germany, France, Spain, Italy, and the UK were all at the bottom of the list. So I think, because they didn't have to go to the preliminaries, the judges of the European judges just decided to throw us at the bottom of the list. And I think the judgment was made prior to the contest taking place. That's my personal opinion. Because, I mean, for instance, the people that came second, old ladies, old Russian ladies that were baking bread, I know they're trying to make dough, but it's a silly way of judging a song contest. But I thought it was a great experience for me. For me, I thought being asked by your country to represent your country, and I know what it's like to represent a country.
The benefit of hindsight, of course, is a wonderful thing. Knowing what you know now, having come through the Eurovision experience in Azerbaijan, would you do it again? Or would you have done it in the first place?
I think perhaps the people who are running the business now have come to their senses, because everyone is aware of the political aspect of it. And I think for them to continue and make it a number 58 on years in a row, for them to continue that, they need the money to keep this going. And I think the judges will have to change, and I think their way of voting will have to change also. I think it has to be up front, right there. You know, I think the judges should be seen, actually. Not, you know, they're all over the place. I think the judges actually should be seen on television.
But are you glad you had that experience?
I'm glad I had the experience. I thought it was, and representing the country was fantastic. I'm just sorry that I didn't do well for them, you know.
You were very dignified in defeat, and you were extremely professional, but it must have hurt personally.
Yes, it did. I think that people in the musical industry who saw the contest, I think, understand what was going on. You know, I mean, they all understand. They knew that a person, you know, with my experience shouldn't be at the bottom of the list. I think it's. I think people in the industry understood very well that it was politically controlled. Other than that, I think I'd do it again. Yes, I would.
You would?
Yes, I would.
The man appears to be almost constantly on the move, traversing the globe, performing to countless thousands of adoring fans. His air miles must surely come in very handy indeed. Nevertheless, I managed to catch up with him recently on a flying visit to his home in Leicestershire and joined him in his study, where we sat down and looked back on what has been an incredibly busy and exciting year for our international singing superstar.
Do you know the countries I've been to this in the last few months? I've been, as Azerbaijan is one, right? Then there's Singapore, then there's the Philippines, and then there's Russia, and Chile, and Malaya, and Malta, Africa, yes, Australia, and it's just in a few months, you know. So therefore, I don't know whether I'm standing my arm or my elbow. I changed that around a little bit, by the way. That's for radio.
But Christmas in Leicester, that is your goal, that is your aim. That is your ideal.
Well, Christmas is always at home, you know. It's not the same. I've tried it, you know, in LA. It just doesn't work out for me. It seems it doesn't have that festive spirit, you know. That it doesn't have it for me. You know, I've been here all my life. I've been spending Christmas here all my life, and I think it's just wonderful to be home. You know, where my heart is and where I know my parents are not here, but you know, I'm able to say that this is where they, you know, we had Christmases with them, and I have my sisters and my brothers over here, so they visit and we all get together. It's wonderful. It's just a great thing. Get family reunion time.
What does Christmas?
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue thinking about you. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree won't mean a thing if you're not here with me. I'll have a blue Christmas, that's certain. And when that blue heartache starts hurting, you'll be doing alright with your Christmas of white. But I'll have a blue, blue Christmas. Without you, I'm thinking, always thinking about you. Decorations are red on a green Christmas tree won't mean a thing if you're not here with me. I'll have a blue Christmas, that's certain. And when the blue
Christmas mean to you?
Well, I guess it's a time of remembering. I think that when I was a kid, and remembering your parents and what they did for you, and now it's the other way around. You know, you did it for your children, and they're doing it for their children, and fortunately now one of my children are here. Louise is here with the little girl. And I'm very happy about that. And Bradley, my son, is coming in for Christmas. Obviously, Scott can't come here because he's in Australia, and Jason lives in Las Vegas. You know, so they all can't come here. But I try to keep my family together at Christmas time, and my parents always did that. And we always congregated in Mum and Dad's house, you know, for Christmas and New Year. Never missed it. Every year without fail. But obviously I can't keep up the way they used to conduct the family life. You know, they had much more power than I'll ever have as far as family is concerned. You know, they could control the family, and the family went there because they wanted to go. You know, they wanted to go, and it was just a wonderful family gathering. Every year it was a wonderful family gathering.
I guess Christmases these days, though, are quite different from the sort of Christmases they used to have as a child.
Oh yeah, I mean, the presents have improved, and you know, and things like that, and technology has improved, and everybody gets different kinds of gifts that are like the gadget you're using right now. It's something that is very unusual. And
you must be impossible to buy Christmas presents for.
No, I'm easy. I mean, I'm the kind of person I like little bits and pieces, like little pieces of clothing or a scarf or something like that. You know, not socks because I've got a lot of those, but you know, little gifts is what I like at Christmas time. I don't think you should go overboard and do extravagant things, because that's not Christmas. That's just being extravagant, shall we say.
Do you think we've lost the true meaning of Christmas then?
I think it's up to the individual to make it a real Christmas instead of an extravagant Christmas. You know, I think the real things are because the family dinner and getting together and having drinks and singing, and that's what Christmas means to me. You know, the family getting together and singing Christmas carols and things like that. I like that very much.
One of the things I don't think we've ever spoken about over all the years that I've known you, Eng, is whether or not you have a faith. Are you
yes,
a religious man?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And I'm a very... I mean, I don't frequent the church very often, but when I do, it's on special occasions, and because I can't, you know, I can't. I'm usually either working or something like that, you know, on weekends, and it's rather difficult for me to do that. But I do like visiting the church. I'm a Catholic, and that's what I do. And I pray every night. I think it's important that you believe. If you don't believe, you've got nothing to look forward to, I don't think.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. day, our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory
Last October, you had the incredible experience of performing before His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Yes, it was.
What was that like?
It was quite an experience. You know, there were wonderful people performing down. You know, Cyndi Lauper was there, and you know, people of that caliber. And I met the Dalai Lama twice during the visit. You know, I was able to shake his hand twice, and he's quite an interesting character. You know, he's quite an interesting character. He gave before the concert, he talked to the people in the showroom, and it was like he was doing a show. You know, the people were so interested in what he was saying, and everything was coming up. Every word he said came up in lights in the arena. You know, every word he spoke came up in lights, and so people were able to understand exactly what he was talking about. And he's a man, a peace-loving man, and spreading the word of peace and around the world, and a good kind of person to have. And I was great to be associated with it.
So as we near the end of 2012,
yeah,
and move into 2013, I know you've been working on this new album of yours for some time.
Oh yes,
now.
I have. Mainly because, you know, it's getting the right people there. If you're going to do something, you've got to do it well. You know, especially when it entails major names in the industry. And in order to get these people on your album, it takes time, because they're all doing their thing and I'm doing my thing, and the album's being made in London and in Los Angeles, and it's just it's a difficult task to get it finished, you know. But we are going to have it done, I'm sure, by Valentine's Day. Yeah, and there's some interesting people on it. You know some of them, but there are others that have come forward that want to do it. And I think, you know, besides Elton, who came forward right at the beginning and started the ball rolling really well, and is a tremendous person, and he's just a great character, a great songwriter, a great artist, and a great person in himself. You know, we got on very well together. I'm extremely happy that he's on my CD.
So Elton John is one.
Sir Elton John, yeah.
Can you drop a few more names for me?
Well, there's, yes, I don't know, you know, people don't know too much about it because he comes from France, but Aznavour has written some amazing songs in his life, and he wanted to be on my album, and I thought that was a tremendous coup for me, you know, to have a person of that caliber on the album, you know, and we're going to do one of his songs, obviously, and I have to sing it in his key. Right. But that's fine. That's fine. It's just an honor to have him on the album. And Kenny Rogers is going to be on it, you know. Smokey Robinson, Seal, and you know, people like that. And there's a few huge names coming along too, a bit later on. I can't announce right now.
Okay. Final thoughts, wishes for the new year, hopes, anything go through your mind?
My wishes for the new year is, first and foremost, you know, I think that the most important thing is peace in the world, and happiness and good health. That's number one on the list. I'm sure we're going to have a great year in 13. 13's an unlucky number for some people, but it was lucky for me because my release came out on the 13th of January, and you know, I think it's a lucky number. It's not that unlucky.
Happy Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you and everybody, all your listeners.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. Next year all our troubles will be miles away. Once again as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who were dear to us will be near to us once more. Someday soon we all will be together if the fates allow. Until then we'll have to muddle through somehow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Merry little Christmas.
yourself a merry little Christmas now. A Merry Christmas, everybody.